All right, welcome everybody to Cover 1. It is the regional semifinals, week 3. I am your host of Cover 1, James Bouligny. I have my co-hosts here, Ryan, Chadwick, and Paul Harris. Guys, how are we doing today?
Doing James? Pretty good, James. I'm sorry you're not feeling so well. You've been sick this week.
I've been sick for a while now.
Yeah.
We are shooting this early because Friday the Wall game starts early, so we're shooting this on Wednesday before Thanksgiving. So it's still all preview stuff. And we're going to get into Wall and Slaton here in a second. Before we do, here's a quick word from Kicking Cuts. Looking for a fresh cut without breaking the bank? Well, Kicking Cuts is now open at 4238 Sherwood Way. Haircuts start at $19 for kids and $22 for adults. They offer hot towels, beard detailings, multiple discounts, and they also sell hard-to-find hair care products. Kicking Cuts is locally owned, and they're ready to get you looking sharp at an affordable price. Kicking Cuts, located at 4238 Sherwood Way in San Angelo. Chadwick, you're going to Sweetwater for the Wall Slaton game. It's what, 1 o'clock?
1 o'clock on Friday.
All right, talk about Wall and Slaton.
So first off, Wall comes off another huge victory. They shut out the Children's Bobcats 50-0 in a very incredible performance. You don't usually see round 2 games where defenses are still just shutting people out and the offense is absolutely destroying them on the other side of the ball. The big storyline of that game had to have been Wall's defense. Forced 3 takeaways in that one. Childress couldn't get their offense going. That pass rush was too much. The run defense was too much, and it gave Wall a lot of short fields to work with. York ended up finished with only 177 yards passing, but they didn't need to when they had 259 yards on the ground. But York actually almost eclipsed the 100-yard mark in rushing as well. He had a 10-yard rushing TD in the first half and then an 87-yard rushing TD in the second half. So I don't think that the round 3 is going to prove, much different. Let's just put it that way. Like I'd even argue that Childress would beat Slaton in a head-to-head matchup. So expect Wall to score early and often. I hate to say this for the Tigers, they're not a bad football team. They're 10-2 on the year, but they just had the unfortunate, circumstance of running up against arguably the best team in 3A football right now. But Slaton runs a power run scheme, right? So Wall needs to shut down the run early. They need to get just a little bit of an advantage to make Slaton, change it up and have to try to air it out to stay in it, which isn't going to go well for them. I don't see this game ending any differently than every game in the playoffs up to this point.
That's one thing we talked about earlier in the season is Wall running the ball. Last year, we can kind of say that their inability to run it cost them against Gunter. So I bet Slaughter is really glad to see that, hey, we can run the ball in the playoffs. What do you think?
Oh, yeah, man. Like last year, Wall's scheme was pretty much throw either a wide receiver screen or beat you over the top. This year, it's a little bit different. They have several talented running backs. York proved that he can use his legs when called upon, but it's almost like that they could still have the ability to beat you over the top. Reed Robertson is incredibly talented still, and they got guys like Jagger Thompson and Hagan Barbie who can really stretch the field. But you got sure hands. From Kellen Oliver and Evan Bailey, and the list just goes on in the amount of offensive weapons they have. So I do think that they are poised to be a much better matchup with Gunter this year. I've picked them preseason to make it to Jerry's World, and I don't even I am not changing that pick now. On the other side of that bracket, you have Idalou facing off with Canadian to see who really is going to play Wall in the regional final, and I'm not convinced that Idalou doesn't win that game. And that's a team that Wall's already beat this year. So the path forward is clear, right? Like just take care of business and you will keep advancing. So I'd like to see that at the Mustang Bowl on Friday.
Yeah, because this Gunter team isn't the same Gunter team as last year. And that Canadian team could lose to Idalou. Idalou's playing really good football. What do you think, Paul?
Man, I kind of agree with Chadwick here. I mean, I think, Canadians that ranked number 6 in the state, but I think Idalou might be the favorite. They played Wall so close last time. And
it was 35-21, I think.
Yeah, it was a 7-point game going into the fourth quarter. Wall ended up winning by 14, but nobody has hung with Wall this year. Even Jim Ned, who's higher classification, state-ranked team, and I don't think they've lost since. Jim Ned's still rolling. So, I mean,
they're ranked, I believe.
Yeah, that win just looks more and more impressive.
3, 4?
I'm not sure how high they are, but
I think they're like 7 or something. Like that's the last thing I saw was they were.
I know they're in the top 10.
Yeah, they're in the top 10. That's what.
Yeah, and I remember thinking when I watched that game, I was like, well, maybe Jim Ned's not as good as I thought they were. No, Wall's just that good, and so for Idalou to hang with them, that could definitely be a tough regional final if Wall and Idalou both get through.
Something needs to be said about Wall's defensive line too, because against Childress, they've bullied teams with their big offensive line before, but they could not do anything. The line couldn't keep just the guy in front of them out for most of the game, and then you Slaughter schedules up some opportune blitzes in certain situations. Like Hagan Barbie came unblocked off the edge on the second Childress possession of the game last week, blindsided the quarterback, sack, fumble, recovered by Wall. They're up 14-0 with 10 minutes left in the game, So, they need to keep playing opportunistic football. They can't turn the ball over, just like any good team cannot do. I think that was a big problem the first time that they played Idalou. They turned the ball over 3 different times in that first half, and it just kind of kept Idalou in it. So I don't know, man. I do think that this Wall team has the capability to win a state championship this year. But hey, you can't get complacent. You still got to go beat Slaton.
I'll say real quick, too, I covered that Wall Idalou game last year, and Idalou forced 6 turnovers, I think, in that game. So at some point, Idalou just got a really good defense. It's not just Wall making mistakes. Idalou can play.
Well, we saw what they did to Great Creek last week. Great Creek's not a bad team.
Right. They got a nearly 2,000-yard rusher in Idalou. Contained him pretty well. He still put up well over 100, but yeah, they're for real defense.
All right. We're going to hear a quick word from Angela MRI, and we come back and talk about the greatest gladiator match in 6-man football.
Have you ever needed an MRI? Do you know someone that needs an MRI? And did you know that you have a choice? When your doctor orders an MRI, tell them that you choose Angelo MRI. The founders of Angelo MRI started Angelo MRI when they faced the high cost of MRIs from traditional medical facilities. That's why Angelo MRI offers a better way. A high-quality MRI for just $5.95. And Angelo MRI accepts all insurance, saving you time and money. It's your health, your money, and your choice. Angelo MRI, 4114 South Jackson in San Angelo, or look them up at angelomri.com. Remember, when your doctor orders an MRI, tell them that you choose Angelo MRI.
Paul Muad'Dib Harris, you are going to San Angelo Stadium on Friday. Water Valley is playing Robert Lee. We all knew this rematch was coming. The rematch. Tell me about it.
Man, I'm pumped, and we were looking forward to it in the regular season. They were undefeated, state ranked, district rivals, just the great players with Brenner Sherwood and Landon York, Boston Weiss, all those guys. And, it was kind of a letdown, and I don't know if the rain had something to do with it. Maybe Water Valley was just that good. I know Robert Lee had some early mistakes.
We got to preface this, though. That was the week that right about, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, storms just rolled through the Concho Valley. Terrible rain. Game got delayed. I think it started like 9:30 or something like that.
Right. That throws things off.
Yeah, I think I was done with the Great Creek Wall game at like 1 a.m.
Yeah, no, it delayed games, and games got pushed to Saturdays. Some people pushed games earlier. So I'm not saying it was a fluke win by Water Valley at all, but you have the rain that delayed everything. Doesn't look like we have some rain in the forecast, but also I don't think it's going to affect anything this week. But continue.
Yeah, and so, again, Robert Lee was down 14 early, and they're on the goal line. They fumble the ball. Again, is it wet conditions? Yeah. I don't know. But it was unexpected, not just because they're both such great teams, but it was a 12-point game the year before. We really thought, and they both brought back most of their teams. So really don't think that we're going to have a repeat of that. Water Valley's still the favorite, of course, but I've got to believe Robert Lee shows up, plays a better game. They've got 2 playoff wins under their belt now. And, I saw them a couple weeks ago, and I was just so impressed by them. And I was like, I cannot believe that Water Valley held this team to 30, and beat them by 37. So it's exciting. It's at San Angelo Stadium. It's awesome for any San Angelo fans want to see a great game, a great 6-man game. And there's a lot riding on it. The winner's going to the state semifinals. So, man, I'm just absolutely pumped to see this matchup. I think it's going the distance. I think it's going to be a lot closer.
I think this one's going to come down to, can Brenner Sherwood get it done? Because we know how good Water Valley is offensively and defensively, but I feel like it's going to come down to, can Sherwood be the playmaker that makes a difference for Robert Lee? He's had a great season all year. He's had a great high school football career. I don't want him to have to play hero ball in this situation, but at the same time, I think it's going to come down to, can he make the plays against Water Valley's defense to keep them in it?
No, and that's the thing is, Water Valley, senior heavy team, It's not just the Landon and Branson Lacey show out there. They have a team full of guys. Boston Weiss, Rhett Dickinson. I keep forgetting this kid's last name, Hunt, but his first name's Hunter. I think he caught 3 touchdowns in that game against Robert Lee. Cade Manley out of the backfield too. Like they have a team full of guys. And Robert Lee, they have Brendan Sherwood, who is probably one of the best 6-man players in the Concho Valley.
If not the best.
If not the best 6-man. And that's not throwing shade at anybody. But his team, younger team, Justice Immel, Josh Garces are underclassmen. And they've got Wyatt Bosworth out there too, Nate Samaniego out there. Like they just have a different type of team. And it's just going to be a good one. These are 2 of the premier 6-man programs in the state this year. You got Trey Cisco there in Water Valley, who was probably the most overqualified defensive coordinator for him last year. Took Sterling City State a few years ago. And even though this game hopefully lives up to what we're building it up to be, Gordon is still out there.
Man, did you see what they did to Menard last week?
They do that to everybody, so it's not a surprise.
I thought Menard was playing so well too, but it just wasn't like that Gordon team is just so good.
Menard did score 2 touchdowns, which is more than Richland Springs scored, but it's 41 in a row for Gordon.
That's a lot. I mean, Gordon is just different, man.
They are different. I don't know if I've ever seen a 6-man team quite like them, and that's saying something because we've got some great teams. Richland Springs, of course, and the Strawn powerhouses and the Benjamin powerhouses. But I think another factor for Water Valley and Robert Lee is simply Water Valley's not just Trey Cisco with the playoff experience he has with Sterling City, but they went to the state semifinals last year, and this is
right.
Robert Lee's first trip to the state quarters in 41 years, I think. So they just don't have that experience. I mean, that could play a factor. But I think Robert Lee is going to be, they know each other well, so that plays in Robert Lee's favor.
Mm-hmm. I mean, they've been playing each other since they were peewee, probably. These kids, they probably played on the same team at one point. So this is going to be a great one. I'm excited for it. And if you have not seen a 6-man football game, first off in West Texas, what are you doing with your life? But if you have not seen a 6-man football game, Friday, 6:30
Friday.
Here at San Angelo, go see this one. This one's going to be a great one. I expect it to go all 4 quarters again, and I expect the score to be a lot higher than it was the first time around. And then I'm going to Johnson City on Friday, 7 o'clock. The Junction Eagles taking on the Granger Lions. Again, 2 undefeated teams. Top-ranked matchup. I think Junction's ranked 4.
Junction 4, Granger 6.
Granger 6. And this Junction team has just played extremely well. We talked about this earlier in the week when they played Mason this year. They fumbled it 4 times against Mason. And so you take that, and then you just look at how impressive that win was. First off, it's the first win over Mason in 18 years. This Junction team is playing really, really good. They played Falls City, another playoff opponent. They played them in the playoffs this year, beat them twice. And then their district was kind of weak. And that's not trying to throw shade at anybody, but Junction is just a powerhouse. They were a powerhouse last year. And Coach Freeman said they kind of tried to arrange their preseason schedule to do that. Goldthwaite was ranked preseason. They played them week 1, beat them. So this Junction team's playing really good, but this Granger team's playing really good. They got 2 guys there in Granger, the quarterback and the running back. They can run the ball pretty well. They had some questions, I think, on the offensive line, but obviously that's not much of an issue. And then they got some receivers out there too. They can score easily, but this Junction team is playing very well. Freeman said he hasn't had one player come to him and complain about touches or how he's using them. They play as a team. They play great as a team. Jason Doyle and O'Brien, the running back, has played extremely well. And then they got the Bierschwal brothers out there. Casey Roberts, they've had to move him around from safety to linebacker. He had an interception, or it hit him in the hands, and he dropped it against Mason. But he's a playmaker for him on defense. I actually think he had the interception at the end of the game that sealed the game for Junction. It's going to be a great one. I'm excited for it. What do you think?
I do think that, like last year, I think a lot of us were surprised when Junction just, started beating the tar out of people in the playoffs. Of course, they advanced further than they ever have last year, right?
4 rounds last year.
This year, I think there's some expectations there now. Like you have a little bit more experience. Maybe you think that you can take that next step. So, I mean, I know it's a top 10 matchup, but I want to see the Eagles kind of take control of this one early and just kind of put an exclamation point on it, saying, hey, we're good enough to make it even farther,
Just to clarify, they actually had the most wins in school history last year, but they did go to the state semifinals back in 2008. They went 10-4 that year. It was kind of a surprise run. They were the third place team in their district, ended up upsetting Shiner in the quarters, made it to the state semis. So they didn't go the farthest ever last year, and then it was Shiner they ended up running into.
They ran into Shiner 4 rounds deep last year.
Right.
Yeah.
So they are now 12-0 for the first time ever. And, I think that we just kind of thought, okay, well, Junction Shiner, they're just destined for another rematch in the state quarters. But Granger, again, is a great team. They can't overlook them.
It's going to be a tough game.
Yeah, and I think maybe the most impressive thing when I was looking at Junction is that they've allowed 91 points all season long. What an underrated defense. You see all the big numbers they put up on offense, but less than 8 points per game. I think that's going to be a huge difference maker for them in the playoffs.
And I asked Freeman to give me a score prediction like I normally do when I talk to coaches. And of course, he did. He said, no, I'm not going to do that. But he also said, what kind of coach would I be if I didn't have faith in my team? Which is a common thing among, normally I don't get that out of coaches. There's like, no, I'm not going to give you a score prediction. But, I mean, what kind of coach would he be? He loves his team. They're playing great. And I believe in Junction. And we're going to hear a quick word from Shelburne Financial, and then we're going to talk about Richland Springs. At Shelburne Financial, you are more than just a number. They will help you plan for retirement, prepare tax documents, and more. Whether you're looking to grow your savings or plan for your future, the experienced team at Shelburne Financial is here to help you and guide you every step of the way. Give them a call at 944-9447 or head over to 3177 Executive Drive and invest in your future. All right, Richland Springs is playing Oglesby this week. Paul, what do you think?
Well, man, getting pretty used to it. It's the 5th time in the last 6 years they've met in the playoffs. The last 2 years, both times Oglesby got the best of Richland Springs, both times by 14 points. They don't have that stud running back anymore. Is it Kyler Fawcett?
Kyler Fawcett, yeah.
Yeah, so I think that'll definitely help. Though they do have a new 2,000-yard rusher. This kid, I don't recall his name, but man, he had over 2,000 yards and then over 1,000 yards passing, no interceptions. So Richland Springs gonna have to find a way to slow this guy down. Oglesby's unranked, but they've been in the state championship and in the state semis the last couple of years. So I mean, it's a good program, and Richland Springs, like we talked about, they got humbled by Gordon the first week. They hadn't lost since. They've steamrolled everybody. They've been rolling. They've got a bunch of guys coming back. They've got Harley Etheridge, longtime coach, leading the program. So. Well, he hasn't been leading the program for a long time, but he's that first-year head coach for them now. But he's been with them before, of course, as their offensive coordinator, and he's taken other teams to state final.
His son plays for him, Cohen Etheridge. He had a few great catches against Gordon. I went to that game, and he played really well, and then Perry played pretty well, the linebacker for him.
Right.
Like they're just they got 45 by Gordon week 1, and then they turned around in 45 May, who was the second-ranked team in D1. So don't think because they got beat that they're not Richland Springs. They're still Richland Springs.
Right. It's been a while, though, now. Richland Springs hasn't been to the state final, I think, since 2019. So out in Coyote country, that's a long, long time for them to not make a state final run. So
they have had quite a bit of extracurriculars going on out there.
Well, I'm not going to get into all that, but...
That's nothing to do with the kids, though.
Right, and they've got a great chance this year. And if they can get past Oglesby, then they may have Strawn next week. So they've still got a tough road ahead to get
another great one.
Right,
Strawn's
and then, of course, possibly Jayton waiting the state championship. So there's some tough teams still waiting for them to get through. But, like I said, Richland Springs, Oglesby become kind of a playoff tradition. So I think maybe Richland Springs can get the better of them this time. But it's going to be a good game.
I'm excited for it. That's going to be in Dublin on Saturday at 3 o'clock. I'm going to that one, too, and I'm excited for that one. And then we got Mason and Kennedy. What do we know about Kennedy, Paul? Mason started off the year
a little rough,
slow,
but
have turned it on.
Kind of like Richland Springs, right?
Right.
Lost a couple, haven't lost since.
Yeah, and Mason, same thing. They kind of, having to start off with Wall of all teams, is tough.
I will say, let's preface this by saying they started off with Wall, and then they played, I think, Brady.
Yeah. and then Junction.
Then
these
Junction.
are tough teams, but they haven't lost
they played
since.
tough teams.
Yeah, and their defense has really come on strong.
Well, they had to implement that new offense this year too, so maybe
With pretty much a brand new offense out there. They lost their offensive line, their quarterback. Lost a lot.
My first thoughts when I saw Kennedy, I'm like, oh, well, they lost to Schulenburg in district, and Mason just throttled Schulenburg, so Mason should win this, pretty convincingly. But then it's like, well, Kennedy only lost to Ganado by 6 in that same district. That says something. Ganado's number 2 in the state, and Kennedy's got a freshman quarterback who's thrown for almost 2,000 yards. So
that's going to be a problem.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy. They've got a senior running back who's rushed for over 1,500 yards. So. They've got some guys, but freshman quarterback, maybe he gets rattled a little bit in the playoffs. I don't know, but I was just kind of a little bit baffled by their results. They've had some great results, and then it's like, well, how did they lose to a team that Mason beat so bad? But maybe it was a matchup deal. I don't know, but certainly Mason doesn't want to look past them because he got neither number 1 Refugio or number 2 Ganado waiting in the next round, so they got to take care of business here first before. And luckily, Refugio and Ganado will knock each other out. So Mason doesn't got to get through both of them.
You just talking about. I know Ganado knocked Mason out a couple years ago.
Yeah,
Chadwick, you went to that one. That was at San Marcos, and that was before Ganado really jumped on the map.
Yep, Mason was a heavy favorite in that game, and Ganado killed them.
No, they were. I remember that, and we were like, "What's going on? What is Ganado? Where even is Ganado?"
Yeah.
And then they made a state last year. They're very good, but yeah, I'm excited for this one too. Mason's playing really good football. Again, they won district. This is like their 400th time winning district or something like that.
Yeah, I think it's 15 district titles in a row. I think 15 or 16. It's been a long time since they lost a district game.
They haven't lost a district game.
Right, not since 2010 to Goldthwaite. It's the last time they lost a district game.
15 years. That's insane. But all right, I think that's kind of our high school coverage for right now. We're going to hear a word from the ArcLight, and then we'll come back with some college football. Catch all the collegiate and pro football action at the ArcLight Bar and Grill, located at 441 Rio Concho Drive, inside the Clarion Hotel in downtown San Angelo. All right, college football, Chadwick. We got 2 of the big 3 going against each other. Let's talk about it.
We got 2 big matchups. First one, nothing bigger than number 3 Texas A&M versus number 17 Texas. That one's going to be at Darrell K. Royal. Of course, Texas won this matchup last year at Kyle Field. It was the reignition of the old school rivalry since Texas A&M ran away to the SEC many years ago. Texas had to follow them to get this thing back started, but what a year the Aggies have had. It's been up and down. It's been all over the place. They're coming off a couple weeks back, what was it, 38 to 3 or 30 to 3 at halftime?
Yeah.
Against South Carolina, and Marcel Reed just leads the Aggies back, and they ended up winning that one. But Texas, on the other hand, I don't know how good the Longhorns are, because sometimes they look like one of the best teams in the country, and other times look like they don't even know how to operate an offense. I do think that this matchup is going to be an incredible one. I don't think the stakes have ever been higher for Texas A&M. Their best season since 1992.
That's right. Yeah.
And with huge college football playoff implications on the line, if Texas finds a way to win this game, which that's not even closely out of the realm of possibility. It's hard to win at Darrell K. Royal. Then all of a sudden we're not talking about Texas A&M even getting a bye anymore, So I don't think it knocks them out of the playoff, but I do think if Texas wants any, hope of an opportunity at all to make the college football playoff as a 3-loss team, they have to beat the Aggies, obviously. Huge SEC championship game implications as well. Rivalry week is going to be a tough one across the board, because we also got Alabama, Auburn, the Iron Bowl coming up, and so man, when you break it down by the numbers, Texas A&M should win this game, right?
It's tough because it's such a rivalry game. I mean, when I was a kid and the Longhorns be having a great season, here comes A&M. They could be a 3-win team, and they could wreck it. So it's kind of cool to have UT in the position to try to wreck their season. But with this kind of a rivalry, you can just throw it all out the window, and who knows what's going to happen.
Right. Well, and Arch Manning has seemed to have found I can't even say that because he played awful against Georgia. He didn't play awful. The offensive line played awful, and he ran for his life for 60 minutes. But he's also coming off SEC Player of the Week. He had 380 passing yards and 5 touchdowns against whatever high school team that the SEC schedules the week before the last week of the season every year. But he still looked good. He was on time with his throws. He hit open targets. He was fitting balls into tight windows, and so it's which Arch are we getting? And can I get a score prediction from you? You're a Texas fan. I think Texas is going to win this game.
Well, it's got to be somewhat low scoring, you would think. If Texas is going to have a chance, that defense has got to play great. I don't know, maybe 27-24 or something like that. But really, it'd be nice if they got a convincing win to bolster their chance for the playoffs.
Well, and my issue is Texas A&M continues to play down to whoever they're playing. Their record says they should be something. Sometimes their D-line looks like the best in the nation. Sometimes Marcel Reed looks like a Heisman Trophy candidate, and other times he'll throw 3 picks in a quarter. So I don't know where this one's going to go, but it's going to be exciting. But yeah, I am picking the Longhorns in this one just because I would love to see the chaos that unfolds if that happens. And then our other big matchup of the week, Texas Tech, number 5 in the college football playoff, number 7 overall in the nation right now. They traveled to Morgantown to play a beaten and battered West Virginia team, and man, the old Texas Tech fan in me is just crying because wouldn't it just be like an old school Red Raiders team to have the best season ever, go up to Morgantown and just get shellacked by the Mountaineers? Do I think that's going to happen? No. I do think Tech wins and they win convincingly, but I need these guys to stay healthy and just execute. Jacob Rodriguez has exploded in popularity thanks in part to a big effort from the Texas Tech fans to get him some national exposure. He's now on the Heisman watch list. I wrote a story today. He's Butkus Award finalist, along with Anthony Hill Jr. on the Longhorns, 2 Texas boys, finalists for the best linebacker in the nation. This one, I think Tech's like a 27.5 point favorite. I want to see them cover again. They're almost undefeated against the spread. The Arizona State game without their starting quarterback, if they lost, kind of put that one out. But if Tech wins this one, they clinch a spot in their first ever Big 12 title game. That would be a big deal for the Red Raiders who've come so far this season, and it pretty much secures them a spot in the college football playoff. So that game's on Saturday at 11. The Longhorn Aggie game's on Friday at 6:30. We got some great football ahead in the college football world this weekend.
Well, let's just go ahead and continue that. We got pro games on Thanksgiving. We're shooting this Wednesday, so Thanksgiving has not happened yet. We got Packers and Lions,
Lions,
Cowboys
Packers.
and Chiefs, and Ravens and Bengals. You want to talk about your Packers? Let's just,
No, I'll do it.
Not a lot.
I'll do it.
We're running short on time, but real quick, give me what you think.
Packers, Lions. Packers destroyed the Lions week 1 of the season in Lambeau. This one's at Ford Field. Jordan Love's been playing much better. The Packers are getting healthier. Josh Jacobs isn't listed on the injury report anymore, so it looks like the Packers getting their starting running back. The defense completely shut out the Vikings last week. Micah Parsons had 2 sacks. I think that the Packers defense held the Vikings to 2 yards of total offense in the second half last week. So, and the Lions are coming off an overtime win against the Jameis Winston-led Giants. Jameis Winston is good football. I really wish that he could be a starting quarterback every week somewhere because you never know what you're going to get, and it's always entertaining. I like the Packers in this one. Chiefs. Cowboys. The Cowboys are on a tear right now.
Got to talk about the Cowboys real fast. Down 21-0.
Yes,
Back of 1.
yes, they are on a tear right now, bro. I am so excited for Cowboys fans. I know that at some point they're going to come back to earth and do what the Dallas Cowboys do. But this week against the Chiefs, is the NFL going to let the Chiefs lose?
I mean, they've been letting them lose some this year, which I appreciate as a Broncos fan. That's nice for them to.
They had a nice comeback win last week over the Patriots. Right?
It was the Colts.
It was the Colts, yeah. I knew it was one of the good teams. Patriots held off the Bengals. That's what it was. But, man, can CD catch? If CD catches, George Pickens on fire, big Cowboys win.
I'm excited for that
And then
one.
Ravens, Bengals, Ravens. I'm just going to say that. Ravens win.
I want to address Kylie Kelsey's comments about the Cowboys. First off, Eagle fans need to, oh, you won your Super Bowl this week. No, you blew a 21-point lead.
Yeah.
You had a 96% chance at winning that game, and you lost.
I'm just going to say this, James.
The moving of the goalpost by Eagles fans is
the
insane.
Eagles are this year's Chiefs last year. I'm just going to say that. I don't like their defense is incredible. Their offense is garbage. Let's do with that what you will. The Eagles are last year's Chiefs.
All right. Well, this has been Cover 1. Join me on the post. I'm going to run the post-game show again on Sunday this week because I'm going Saturday to a game. So we'll have all the highlights from these games. For Paul Harris, Ryan Chadwick, I'm James Bouligny. This has been Cover 1.